Hello viewers, a very happy evening to each one of you. Thank you for joining us on this live session for Budget 2021. In less than 20 hours from now, tomorrow Finance Minister will be announcing the Budget 2021 in the Parliament. In the meantime, let us discuss what are the expectations from this budget and what are the recommendations which we are making to the government for the budget tomorrow. First of all, let us understand what is budget. Budget is nothing but a document which provides the plan and income of the government and plan and expenditure of the government. What is the expected income of the government and what is the expenditure of the government for the next financial year, that is financial year 21-22. This is a very important document because this is coming at a time when India has degrown by 7.5%. This year we have recorded a growth rate of minus 7.7%. So in this particular scenario, or in this present scenario, budget plays a very important role because based on this budget and based on the expenditure of the government, we can estimate the growth of the next financial year. So that is the reason why everybody is very eager and waiting for this budget. Moreover, because of the pandemic, people's income has significantly reduced and overall demand in the country has reduced very significantly. So for that reason, there is a huge expectation from everybody that there will be a significant reduction in the income tax rates, or at least deduction related to ATC or standard deductions and all will be increased by the government. So with this expectation, everybody is eagerly waiting for tomorrow's budget. Let us start. Let's discuss now what are the recommendations prepared by our team for this budget 2021. These are certain recommendations, and before starting to discuss these recommendations, let me say you certain expectations which are there for the people which are not going to be reality tomorrow. Certain expectations or certain things are trending on the Twitter and other places where expectations of the people are relating to the GST and other things. They are not going to be reality tomorrow. The first expectation for the people is with respect to GST. So people are like trolling everywhere saying that tomorrow GST rates will be reduced and GST penalties will be waived off. In fact, many people who have not filed returns for the past few months, they are waiting for tomorrow's budget so that finance minister will waive off our penalties and late fees so that we can file it off tomorrow. With this expectation, people are waiting and eagerly waiting for tomorrow's budget, but that is not going to be a reality. The reason being, any amendment relating to GST rate or any decision relating to GST, finance minister cannot take alone. It is being decided by the GST council. Tomorrow budget is being announced by the central government, whereas any decision relating to the GST can be taken only by the GST council, where all state ministers will also be present. So tomorrow, don't expect any reduction in the GST rates, any waive off relating to the GST penalty. The second thing which in a positive way people are expecting is, last year Nirmala Sitharaman promised a taxpayers charter. They announced the document, but they are not following it. But they announced a taxpayer charter. Through that document, they said they described certain rights of the taxpayer as well. Today, if I don't file my GST return or if I don't file my income tax return to the government on time, they will charge me interest as well as they will charge me the late fees and penalty as well. However, if I make an application for refund or if any application is made to the government for approval, if they don't approve, currently they will pay some 6% interest, but there is no late fee and there is no penalty as such. There is a huge recommendation or huge expectation from all of us, thinking that tomorrow government will introduce something in such a way that if government is delaying the processing of refund, if government is delaying the processing of a particular application, they will be paying us the late fee and late penalty. Never ever expect it from the Indian government. Tomorrow that is not going to be present. Anyway, now let's start discussing what can be reasonably expected from the government tomorrow. The first thing is investment relating to the healthcare. The expenditure which government is incurring on the healthcare will definitely increase. Is expected to significantly rise from here. Till last year, average expenditure on the healthcare industry used to be 1% of our total expenditure or 2% of our total expenditure, but not more than that. But this coronavirus pandemic has taught a lesson to the entire country. It was a lesson for the entire world as such. So definitely we can expect some positive outcome or increase in the expenditure for the healthcare industry. And at the same time, a reasonable thing to expect tomorrow is reduction in the tax rates, individual tax rates, or at least increase in the limits relating to ATC or increase in the limits relating to the standard deduction and all. Because demand in the economy has significantly reduced. So for that particular reason, a reasonable expectation is that tax rates will be reduced, but maybe they may not reduce the tax rate, but they can increase the deduction limit. Currently under ATC, the investment relating to the fixed deposits and child education fees and all these things, limit is 1,50,000 rupees, but it is expected that government will either increase this particular limit. Mostly government will increase this limit. The third expectation is with respect to protecting certain industries. After this pandemic, certain industries are facing severe amount of losses, or there are no operations in certain industries. For example, airlines, for example, tourism industry, and at the same time hospitality industry, hotels industry. These industries are facing severe trouble. To some extent, entertainment, cinema theaters and these kind of things. These kind of businesses are facing huge problem after this pandemic. It is reasonable to expect that government will support these industries through certain schemes or through certain deductions for purchasing the services or goods of these industries. For example, currently there is an LTA deduction, leave travel allowance deduction. Any salaried employee, if he is traveling along with his family to any tourist place or to any place in India, he can avail the deduction in the income tax with respect to the travel expenditure. But it is expected tomorrow that this LTA benefit will be extended even for the stay and even for the food expenditure. Currently, if I travel to any place, I can take deduction in my salary income only for the travel related expenditure, the train ticket which I incur or the bus ticket which I incur. But it is expected that tomorrow government may announce the benefit even for staying in a particular place or even for spending some amount of money on the food and related stuff. So that is one expectation from the government tomorrow. Then at the same time, another expectation is on the capital gains for long-term capital gain on the sale of equity shares. During this pandemic, many people have entered into the stock market. Many retail investors, many small investors have entered into the stock market. 2 to 3 years back, government made a small change with respect to the taxation of gain which is arised on the shares. Dealing with the shares. Usually if you hold the investment for more than 1 year in the equity, then at the time it is considered to be a long-term capital gain. 3 years back, any profit which you make on the investment which is held for more than 1 year was completely exempt. However, now they made a change. 3 years back they made a change where they brought it into the tax ambit. Today, if I purchase some equity share in the market, even if I keep it for 10 years and if I sell, the profit on such gain will be completely taxable. So there is some expectation. There is an expectation or there is a reasonable recommendation which we are providing to the government, where we are asking government to reduce the tax rate or completely eliminate this, because it will encourage people to come into the equity markets and invest into good companies. So that is one estimation from the government. And a long-standing demand from the startup industry is with respect to ESOP taxation, employee stock option plans. Currently, if we provide ESOPs to our employees, ESOP is like a very popular tool among the startups today. If I provide some ESOPs to my top management or my employees, currently it is being taxed today itself. If I provide ESOP shares today, they are being taxed today itself. However, in other developed countries and all, they will be taxed at the time of selling those shares. If I give these shares to employee today, they should not be taxed today. They should be taxed at the time of selling these shares. The last year, government also understood this problem. They gave exemption for the startups. And then they said, if startups are issuing the ESOP shares and they need not be taxed at the time of issuing those shares, they will be taxed within 5 years or at the time of exit of the employee or at the time of the sale of the shares, whichever is earlier, they will be taxed at that point of time. But the major problem with this provision is, this provision introduced a clause which says this benefit is available only for recognized startups by interministerial board. Interministerial board has hardly recognized less than 1,000 startups in the country. So this ESOP benefit is available currently only for less than 1,000 startups in the country. We provided a recommendation to the government saying, please extend this benefit to all the companies or at least all the startup companies, irrespective of whether it is registered under DIPPP or whether it is registered under the interministerial board. So please extend this benefit to all the startups is what is our next recommendation. Other than that, a reasonable expectation from the entire industry is to simplify the labor laws. Currently there are n number of labor laws, PF, ESI, PT, gratuity, bonus, Industry Disputes Act, Maternity Benefit Act, Factory Labor Act, so many acts. Government is trying to consolidate majority of the labor laws, and it is trying to announce a labor code. It's trying to announce a labor code where 21 labor laws will be merged into 3 simple labor laws. It is expected that government will make a announcement tomorrow. Even if not the entire bill, government will make a positive announcement with respect to this tomorrow. So this is one of our expectations from the government. Are you expecting anything else from the government? Please comment in this video below and please let us know. Thank you very much for joining us on this session. Please wait for our tomorrow's review, a detailed review after the budget being announced by the finance minister. Thank you very much.